Hey everybody, it's Green Machine 55 here and welcome back. And today we are back to Kerbal Space Program, and today I thought I would make a different approach today. I was going to do another mission, but I'm thinking today I would rather go through a training one or more training sessions today on some of the basics of the game. And today we're going to go ahead and start on the training sessions. I know we already did a little bit, but I thought maybe I would do more of a Kerbal training program today for this. So we're going to start with the first one. I don't think I can cover all of these in one video. If I can, I will, but we're only going to stick to any of them that might be basic enough for us today, like these first two or three, and maybe the advanced construction if we're ready to get to that part. So without further ado, let's get started on this. Getting started in basic construction. This tutorial, presented by famous rocket scientist Werner von Kerbal himself, covers the basics of rocket construction and the vehicle assembly building. He's waiting for you down there and is always in high demand. Don't delay. Let's get started. Basic construction. Welcome to today's lecture on vessel construction. I'm Werner von Kerbal. Whether you want to put a satellite into orbit, or make a transcontinental flight, or step onto the very surface of the moon, you're going to need to build yourself a ship. It should be pretty easy even if you're not a famous rocket scientist like myself. In this tutorial, I will first show you around the Kerbal Space Center, then take you to the vehicle assembly building where you'll learn how to construct a simple ship. We'll cover adding and removing parts, what the parts do, how to change the performance settings of the parts, which have that option, and how to control staging. At the end of the tutorial, you will have a craft fit for a quick hop from the launch pad. At each step, I will look out all controls other than the ones you need for that step. If you still manage to mess up, it took even me sometimes to become as skilled as I am now. You can press the back button to go back and fix things. It won't light up unless you do mess up. We are now at the Kerbal Space Center. I'll give you a quick rundown on how to get around. The KSC, for short, is home to the pinnacle of Kerbal endeavor and achievements for space exploration. Using the facilities you can see here, you will be able to manage your space program, create rockets and planes, track your Kerbal explorers as they roam the solar system, find exciting new uses for explosive substances, and in case of emergency, hire more Kerbals. To find out about each of the facilities, you can hover your mouse over them or the facilities button. They show up when the cursor is outside this window. If you need to repair a structure or upgrade them in career, you can do this by right-clicking them. Take some time to hover the mouse over the buildings and see what they each are, and when you're ready, enter the Vehicle Assembly Building, VAB. Here's the space plane hangar, mission control, vehicle assembly line, obviously the launch pad, tracking station, the research and development station, astronaut complex, and the administration building. So let's get to the vehicle assembly building, shall we? Inside the VAB, Very good. What you see in the middle of this screen is the construction area. This is where parts are placed and your craft is constructed. On the left side of the screen is the parts toolbox. It will show all the parts you have available in each of the different categories, once there are any to pick, that is. If you want your craft to be controllable, you need a command module, and it's best to make it the first part you place. This part will either contain some plucky Kerbal crew or an automated pilot mechanism. As we're just starting, there's only one choice. Go ahead and pick that command module from the Pods tab. After at least one part is placed, you can look around with the following controls: orbit the camera, arrow keys, or right mouse drag. Move the camera up and down, or with the page up, page down, or mouse scroll wheel. Zoom the camera, keypad plus, keypad minus, or shift plus mouse scroll wheel. Not that shift apparently. Oh, there we go. If you'd like your pilot to be able to make more than one flight, he or she will have to return safely to the ground or water on Kerbal. Parachutes are a simple way to make sure that happens. They can be found on the Utility tab. Change tabs by clicking their icons on the left of the part list window. Top lane, payload, aerodynamics, ground, thermal, electrical, communication, science, utility. When you're choosing parts, you can view the details of available parts by hovering over them in the toolbox. When the info is visible, most parts have an additional information window which can be opened with a right click. Note that the parachute states the effective diameter in each state and what the maximum safe speed for deployment is. The MK16 parachute might be considered by some to be little more than a random stitching together of the surplus parts it is in fact made from, but the fact remains that the MK16 has been widely accepted as a generally better alternative to being in freefall. Mass is 0.1 T, tolerance 12.0 M, impact tolerance 50 Gs, 4000 kPa, pressure, max temp is 2500 to 2500 K. Go ahead and select the MK16 parachute by left clicking on it. Then move it to the top of the command pod so that the green sphere at the bottom of the parachute lines up with the green sphere at the top of the pod. Click again to attach. Next, some parts, like our parachute here, have configurable options. To see these, we need to right click on the parachute we just attached to the pod. Do that now and you will see the available parameters. Minimum pressure, altitude. On the parachute, you will see that we can adjust our altitude and the atmospheric pressure at which to open. That setting can be quite useful on distant worlds. For now, let's check that the opening height on the chute is at least 1000 m. sure it's at 1,000. There we go. Let's see. Because safety is the Kerbal way, after all. For the minimum pressure slider, move it to a bit to the right to 0.2. And 0.2. This setting prevents the chute from activating until the atmospheric pressure is about the configured value. On Kerbal. 0.2 is about 9 kilometers in altitude, so even if you stage early and arm the parachute, it will wait until then to activate. You can hide these options by right-clicking on the background scene or picking up another part when there's one available. When you're happy with that, we can proceed. So let's proceed. Okay, next up we are going to need something to make us go. Click on the Engines tab on the left to show the available engines and solid rocket motors. Grab one and connect it to the bottom of the pod. You may need to zoom or move the camera to be able to do so. Engines. Ooh. This is gonna be... I might need to zoom out a little bit. There we go. Next. Oops, I forgot, you're just starting out. You're not a famous rocket scientist, and to make that craft survivable as it stands now, you'd have to be better at rocket science than me. Ha, impossible. The problem with that craft is that this solid rocket is too powerful for the payload, a single small pod and chute. It will either burn up on ascent from going too fast or burn up coming back down. Even if you survive that, the craft's mass will cause it to fall too fast for the parachute to operate properly, and you'd hit the surface before it could stop you. Okay, I promise to teach you how to change that to make it work in a later tutorial, but for now, let's continue. Well, at least this way I get to tell you about removing parts. Pick up the BACC thumper and either drop it back over the parts toolbox or press delete. Anyway, okay, instead let's add the solid motor that's a better match for a ship of this size. At the start of your career, you will have what I consider rubbish parts. Literally, the motor here looks like it may well be a converted trash can. That said, it does have enough oomph to get this little craft moving skyward, and quickly as you progress, you will be able to unlock more engines and other parts. For now, let's pick up the RT5 Flea and connect it to the bottom of the pod. Nice one. You built the simplest survival craft possible. We could go launch this right now, but it might be safer to explain one other thing first. In the bottom right, you will see the staging stack. It's the box with the number 0 and icons for the parachute and engine in it. This stack shows us which parts will be activated as we stage our rockets. What this shows is that when we activate the next stage, both the engine and the parachute will be triggered. While it could be considered funny to open the chute and fire the motor at the same time, it's not going to give you much of a flight. To fix this, we need to separate the engine and chute into 2 stages. If you mouse over the 0 stage, you will see a little plus and minus appear to the left of the box. Click the plus button to add a new stage. If you add too many, click the minus button on the extra ones to remove them. Make sure you have precisely 2 stages. Okay, let's see. Oh, over here. Okay. Click the plus button to add a new stage. If you move them, make sure you have precisely 2 stages. Oop. Apparently I only need 1. Okay, so -1. Next. Excellent. That's important to know that the stages activate from the highest number and then count down. So our first stage will be stage 1, the engine, and our second one will be stage 0, the chute. Now drag the engine icon from stage 0 down to stage 1 to give our pilot some comfort. Now drag the... Okay, there we go. That's it. We now have a safe, relatively safe craft that's ready to go. Let's make sure that if we need this design again, we don't have to build it all from scratch. At the top of the screen, you will see the name for our craft. Untitled Spacecraft doesn't seem so majestic. Why don't you change that to be something more your style, and you can add a description if you'd like to. When you see the load screens later, these names and descriptions help you to grab the right vessel. When you're happy with the name, click on the save icon in the upper right. We're going to call it Tin Can number 2. Tin can number 2. Tin can number 2 is a remastered revised reworked better staged simple rocket to test our building skills. There. You need to click. Let's see, where does this head? Click on the save icon. That would be save. And then next. Excellent work. Feel free to play around with the parts and techniques I've shown you, and when you're ready to continue, press the red button in the upper right to exit. Back at the training menu, try the Flight Basics tutorial to learn how to fly this little craft, and then the intermediate construction tutorial can teach you more about the editor. Perfect, we're done. Okay, so we're done with this tutorial. Let's go ahead and start on the next one. Basic flight. Learn the basics of flying a spacecraft in KSP. In this tutorial, flight instructor Gene Kerman will take you through the essential flight controls and instruments required to launch a simple hopper that you built in Construction Basics. First, I'm going to do a quick little I don't know if I made the screenshot or not. I don't remember if it was Control or if it was Alt. I think it might have been Alt 5. It was one of those two. I'm hoping I took the picture. Otherwise, we'll just make a new custom thumbnail. But anyway, welcome to the Kerbal Space Center launch facility. I'm Gene Kerman, and I will teach you the basics of piloting a spacecraft. I trust you've already checked the basic construction tutorial. If not, I recommend you do so before going through this one. Today we will do a run through of all the important controls for your spacecraft. Our little hopper from your basic construction lesson with Warner may not have all of them, but we'll do a full run through once and see how it flies. If you're ready to go, press next. Flying a spacecraft is all about being in control of a generally very chaotic situation. As a pilot, your main flight controls will affect the pitch, yaw, and roll of the ship. Let's look at those first. All the other controls will be locked until they're needed or this tutorial is closed. Okay, also, I've forgotten something. Okie dokie, there we go. Okay, pitch, yaw, and roll are the three directions you will rotate your craft. To help you visualize these, we've taken a holiday snap of the hopper below. Hopefully I took a picture of that too, just for the hell of it. Next up, we'll see how we rotate in these directions. You control your ship's rotations using these controls. Pitch up and down, left, right, left, right. SW, AD, Q, QE. By controlling pitch, yaw, and roll together, you can keep the ship in a controlled flight. Try it now and notice the indicator on the lower left side move as you provide control input. Okay. Throttle plus pitch, yaw, and roll are the main controls you'll need to master for a successful crash-free flight. We'll skip over the throttle control for now as this vessel has no need for it. Don't worry, I'll explain it another time when it's of use. Remember that all of these controls have a limited amount of effectiveness, so bigger, heavier ships will probably respond much more sluggishly to the controls than a little small one. It's also good to keep in mind that as stages are separated from the ship, it will become lighter, and this will usually mean easier to control. Next, let's look at the rest of the flight controls. In flight, all the planning you put into the staging sequence of your ship comes into play. For launch to the final development of the descent parachute, you can control the activation of several of the ship's parts by activating stages. Space is launch and activate next stage. Notice the stage indicator in the lower left corner. It shows the currently active stage. Since we haven't launched yet, it's showing the first stage as active. I have your staging controls locked for now, so the stage indicator is glowing purple. One more thing on staging. If the staging setup is causing strife, or you change your mind about something, you can edit the stage sequence on the fly. Pun intended, no need to go back to the assembly facility. An important part of flying is knowing how your ship is oriented and where it is going. That's why a good pilot is always aware of the ship's altitude, where it is pointing, and its velocity vector, where it is going. These areas always the same direction, and as your skills improve, you should pick up on these. The big round instrument on the lower center of the screen is called the nav ball. The device sums up most of the critical information needed for proper death-free flight. Here you see the ship's nose in relation to the horizontal. When you're not pointing straight up, it's easily visible as a line between blue sky and the brown ground, as well as its heading, compass, bearing, and speed. You also get several icons that indicate things like your current velocity vector, but we'll have a look at those later. In the top corner part of the screen, you have your altimeter, vertical speed indicator, and atmosphere gauges. The altimeter will show the distance to the planet's surface at sea level. This means the actual surface may be much closer, so watch out for the ground when landing. Your vertical speed indicator shows how quickly your altitude is changing. Okay. Altitude is changing. When launching, it's considered best to keep this gauge pointing up. The atmosphere gauge indicates how deep the ship is in the planet's atmosphere. This helps you know if the ship is high enough for orbiting without losing speed to air resistance, or judge how effective wings and controls surfaces will be. Okay. On last thing, before we give this rocket the green light, in the staging stack you can see the indicator for your parachute. This indicator shows when the chute will be activated by staging. You already know that, but the background will also change color to indicate when it is safe to stage the parachute, and the foreground, the parachute bit of the icon itself, will change color depending on the parachute state. Note, however, that by default parachutes will not deploy when unsafe, even if you stage them. The left three show safety: safe, risky, and unsafe to deploy. The chute is unstaged white in the left three. The right three show state after staging: armed, deployed, and cut or shredded. When you are familiar with the chute icon and colors, we can move on. Well, I'm familiar with it. The question is so right now it's white. Okay, enough talk. I'll unlock the flight controls and you'll be clear for launch. At any time you may press escape to pause the game. In the pause menu you can restart the flight, or in this tutorial choose end scenario and return to the main menu. For now, get yourself prepared and hit space when ready to launch. Don't forget our hopper has only a solid rocket motor, so there is no throttle control. That's why we didn't review the throttle here. Make sure to fly in a nice high arc and enjoy the flight. Okie dokie. Ready? 1, 2, 3, launch! Woohoo! See, now we're really going. Woohoo! Woo, 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 woo. Da 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 da. Stop. Okay, there we go. No. We didn't stage it very well. Ah, shucks, something went terribly wrong here. You might want to try to stay alive when on an actual mission, you know. Don't feel bad. I'll send someone to clean that up and you can try again. Make sure you fly high enough to be going slow enough for parachute deployment, and make sure you remember to stage it to arm it. Damn it. Let's revert to launch and try that again, shall we? I'm determined to make this better. Let's go. Welcome to the... damn it. I really have to go through all that again. I already did all this crap. I know all this. We're gonna try this again. Okay, let's try it again. Let's wait until we're till we got the right to do so. And then let's go. Ooh, perfect. Stage our parachute so that when we finally go to come back down, we should hopefully be parachuting back. You've armed the parachute. Now time to wait to get low enough and slow down enough for it to deploy safely. Don't worry, it will do so automatically. Well, maybe. Worry slightly if you don't fly enough. No, 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 no. Do 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 do. Nope, nope, nope. There we go. There we go. Now it should land perfectly. Woo! That worked. Perfect. And now we sit back and enjoy the descent. Na 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 na. I was just waiting for the descent to happen. See, I figured that could probably work better if I tried it correctly this time around. Apparently there's not much very good control system for controlling certain things, since there's not that much to do right offhand. But yeah, not too bad on our second time around. And touchdown! Well done, you survived your first quick flight. When you're landed or splashed on Kerbal and not in training, you can point the mouse just above the altimeter and click the recover button on the panel that slides down to ask to be picked up. I've also unlocked the crew hatch, so if you feel like going out for a walk or swim, you can click the EVA extra vehicular activity button that will pop up when you mouse over the portrait of the Kerbal you want to take for a walk. You can do it just for fun or to collect a surface sample. This concludes today's lesson. To exit training, you press escape to access the pause menu and choose end scenario to return to the main menu. I hope to see you again to learn more about suborbital flight, perhaps. Bye. Okay, well, that's going to end it here today for this episode. Well, maybe. Let's go see about... I guess I can't do that here. Let's go see about... Well... Is it going to let me go anywhere? Let's see. Let go, climb out. Okay, space. Oop. Boy, does he suck. Let's see. Look, I'm moving around. Wait a minute. I'm still on the frickin' planet. I wanted to go to space, damn it. Oh well. Okay. Let's see. How do I get out of this now? Okay. Can I go back to... How the hell do I get out of this menu? Oh, here we go. End scenario. I think that's probably all we're going to do today. Unless, well, intermediate construction. This tutorial presented by famous rocket scientist Werner von Kerbal himself covers how to design a craft that can escape Kerbin's atmosphere and return safely. I think I'm going to end it here, and we will start on the next on the next training session on the next episode. In fact, if you guys really like these episodes, I think I might spend the whole week doing Kerbal space program this week, and we'll go through all the training sessions. But for now, we will stop here, and if you guys like these videos, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.